big piece of paper, bro. 2018. Dun, 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 dun. It's like Nav and Travis come out with that link. The notebook, man, I gotta take my notes. Let me see. Oh no, we should be good though. If I can find it. Here it is. This is the whole note taking, dude. This is like my life. This is my love, my notes. Everything I have is in here. And I always review it every day. I learn, I relearn every day off of it. And then I'll show you how to actually, here, I'll show you something too. While we're waiting for this live. Okay, so let's see. All right, you see this spreadsheet? Yeah. So pretty much what I set up for it is like, I put the balance in where it gives you like the exact lot size to create. So you're not, blowing your account or, being greedy and going, hey, I'm going to make it a 0.50 because that's what they're doing, But no, I'm starting on a 0.02 lot size with a, what kind of account? Yeah, 238. So if I start low and create, more profit off the charts, it's just for more growth. It grows slowly. It's not like in the beginning, it's like lifting weights. It's like going to Anytime Fitness. It's like you start small to go to a 50-pound, dumbbell. So it's just like that, but people aren't seeing that sometimes. But yeah, man, I mean, all weekend I've just been studying and just working on this knowledge. 2018. I'm really hyped for this summer. I'm really looking to just like, get in, just success, just start grinding, man. That's all.
So they're moving to NBA.
That's what I want to do. That's what I want. Just so I can reach like more opportunities. I want to create something like really special, really special. Like I want to grow with a team. Like it's not just me, it's like a team. And I really want that, It's like that vision and that drive, So that's just like what, burns it up inside of me. It's like, man, all right, I'm in with it, Like I want to hop on, I want to learn. And I learned, I'm like I'm actually longer than that. I'm like 9 months into it, but like I was looking at it like a summer ago, like 2 summers, 3 summers, like 4 summers ago. Never got really started. It takes time. It just, fun, but it takes time. You can lose a lot, you can win a lot, but it's patience. It's a lot of patience. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So what are you doing on live stream 15?
Also, there's something there if you want to make
We Nav and Travis to come out with this. Yeah. Dude, I'm ready to watch this video, dude. I've been waiting all weekend.
You know when that's coming out?
Let's see, 7 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, bro? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Brent.
Yes, you can hear me.
Yeah, bro, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Cool. All right, I'm ready. 6 minutes.
Yeah, same, man. Oh.
What's it saying? Is it the name?
What's up?
Hey, you guys think anyone else is coming?
Not really. I'm not really sure who does.
All right, let's just get into it. What do you think?
That's fine, man.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we'll just get into it. We'll start with going over the moves that we took last week. All right. So last week we called out a few moves. Pound yen was one of the moves we called out. And what we saw on this was on the 4-hour time frame, we were making it's a pretty big correction, but if you look and see, like, you can see it's just an ABC correction that was coming off of this impulse.
And it'll meet that D then. Okay. And
So we had this, and then when we got the C correction on the 4-hour time frame, we were getting a really nice candle here. You know, we were having some engulfing action, kind of like what you saw back over here when we got a similar move. Yeah. So we were having a similar type of price action coming off of a downward impulse, and we were within a correction. So we knew that this was likely to happen. So I was expecting it to correct a little bit and then fall. And it corrected a little bit and then fell. And that ended up being 530 pips.
Wow.
Yeah. The next one was...
Wait. Can we go back to that?
It's just that impulse you got to see, pretty much.
So I understand, like, it's a ABC correction from the original impulse sell. Yep. But why did you choose where the A, B, and C started? So, like, why isn't the A at the first impulse sell? So literally, that's what I was going to go over today. That was one of the spicy nugs that I had for you guys. So I'll just go over it now. Okay, so pound dollar. Just going to erase this. We were looking at that on a 4-hour time frame. Okay. So when you're looking at your chart, and I'm sure you probably know by now, like, the way I trade is impulse, correction, continuation. That's what I'm looking for at pretty much all times. Just it happens on different time frames at different times. So how I knew to use this as my impulse was because of the MACD. So, like, at first, like, now I can just look at this impulse. But if you want to use something to help you realize that, use your MACD, because you see, like, down here how it crossed under, and then we had this big, like, we had this swing down here from here to here.
Yeah.
And that coincides with this price action right here. Okay. And so, like, when this move happened, let me show you what I was actually looking for. I wasn't looking for the downtrend when this move initially happened. Let me try to get this working here. Okay, so when this happened, we had a big impulse upwards because of the UK election. I think this was, middle of December. Yeah. So the election happened. So I was expecting this to just come down correctively, like come down to here and then go up. But it never did that. So it broke down below. And if you break your impulse generation point, that invalidated this buy. So here's your impulse, and I was looking for the correction for another buy.
Yeah.
But since we broke down below it, this became invalidated.
Do you trade before those retests, or do you enter after? Like, when you identify.
So here's where I enter. I'll show you exactly where I entered.
Yeah.
Like for this one. So if I see a move like this one that was setting up on the 4-hour time frame.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather be disciplined to enter and close rather than, not have any information over it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, okay. In an instance like this, I had my impulse right here.
Yep.
And then I had my correction right here. So your impulse is shown by the MACD right here. Anytime on the MACD, when your histogram gets really small like this, you're in a correction.
Okay.
And this is a long correction, so you can see that it stayed contracted and very small for a long time.
because there wasn't momentum to the upside or the downside. It was just going sideways.
Yeah.
But let me show you some
Validate.
other examples.
Okay.
And this is a big key. And it's in the lessons. If you guys watch the lessons, I go over this in the lessons. But it's such a huge key that I'm probably just I'm gonna talk about it every chance I get until it's just ingrained in everyone's heads. So on this, that other one, you saw how long that correction was? Well, when you get more of a normal correction in a normal trending market,
So you just got to follow that trend.
corrections like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
all about
simple.
following the trend. And like this SMMA right here, this red line,
Mm-hmm.
that approximates the trend really well. If you can see, like it hits the trend a lot. So 3 things I look for. I look for my impulse. And then after we get the impulse, I look for the correction. Now, you get the impulse, and then as you're watching and waiting for the correction, the key to this and the key to this whole strategy, because you can teach 1,000 people that the market moves like impulse, correction, and continuation,
Yeah.
but you have to master the correction because we're getting in on the correction to catch the continuation trade.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to measure out a correction, here's how I do it. I look for my impulse and I look for my correction. When the MACD gives you a cross like this, so it's red, 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 tiny green, and it happens to coincide with this correction that you can name, that's a flag, and it happens to coincide with it touching this. So those 3 confirmations alone would let me know, okay, I need to start looking for the sell. Right?
And you can even go look
and
at
then I'm going to mark.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is on the 4-hour time frame. So I would get my entry on
so much
like
patience.
the 15-minute time
frame. Yeah.
Like I did on this. It's patience, but it's also like trading like this helps a lot because you're not trying to pick tops and you're not trying to like pick bottoms.
Why not
because
just lay back
it's so hard to catch those reversals.
Yeah.
Dude, well, here's the thing. You're catching this trade at the top.
Yeah.
Because on the 4-hour, this is the top on the 4-hour, right?
Right.
And here's where I entered.
The 15 minutes could go way, way different.
Dude, and then you go to the 15, and we're looking for the exact same thing on the 15-minute time frame, but we're trying to catch a 4-hour move with a 15-minute entry.
So smaller time frame, better entry. That's what.
Yeah. Yeah, because
awesome.
you know that break in correction, break in correction I was talking about?
Yeah.
It happened on the 15-minute way before it happens on the 4-hour time frame. So on the 15-minute, let's just take this back to the beginning of the week. So this big purple area, little small section on the 4-hour gave us really like several opportunities to enter. Here. That's your first entry. Impulse down. And then it corrected and stayed below here and started to break with some decent movement down.
Yeah, and then it kept following.
So you could have gotten in here.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. Or you could have waited for it to come down here. And then the move I called last week, I think, was like in this area, somewhere in this area.
Is that gone?
So your impulse got a little bigger and your correction got a little bigger.
Yeah.
And then it continued down for another. I think we ended up with 500 something pips off of this one.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome, man.
And as you can see, when we started to have our impulses, we got our corrections, and we could see our corrections on the MACD because we were looking at that. It was getting smaller. So see how that lines up perfectly with the correction?
Yeah. Wow.
That's your correction. That's how you could use the MACD to read your corrections and really master how to become a trend, like a trend trader.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah. Does
that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
At the end of the chart
then,
there,
on top of,
I was just going to say, I mean, that's a pretty big impulse
here?
by itself. Yeah, and I was like, according to my like research and like technical analysis, I think that it probably that's the beginning of a reversal. But I mean, there's not really much to tell me other than like the fact that it could be a resistance point, or it just had broken through a resistance point there at like 140.59.
Yeah.
So like that looks like a resistance point to me, kind of. So do you think that it's going to go back up? It's going to try and bounce back through the resistance point?
Depends on the trend.
Yeah. So let me. Yeah, it really just depends. Like, because on this here, let's back it out on a wider.
And you gotta,
so like back on the week,
too, man. Yeah. The news will help too.
Yeah, you gotta look at the news. And here's the thing about like all yen pairs right now, and gold and yen and Swiss, they're all going to be affected by the coronavirus and the trade war right now.
Yeah.
And as far as like, as long as there keeps being fear injected into the market about the coronavirus and the trade war, then yen is going to keep gaining strength. So all the like GBP JPY, USD JPY, those are all going to go down. Because as the yen gains strength, these will lose value.
Yeah.
Okay.
So fundamentally, it makes sense. It makes sense that we go down. So what we had last week was we had huge moves last week. Like we caught over 1,000 pips last week, and that's not going to happen every single week. Just because like these big moves, you can see it happens once every maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, you know. That's not to say we only trade that often, but to get the huge moves, you know, they just don't happen as much as we would like. So a lot of times we just trade smaller moves, which isn't a big deal. You know, it's okay to catch 100 to 200 pips instead of 500, but you know, it's nice when stuff like this happens. But my point about this is that it was a huge move, so the market needs to rest a little bit, if that makes sense. Like it needs to correct. So what I see happening here,
so you think it's going to go
a correction occurring?
Because that's what you said on Friday,
for
and then
sure.
when you said,
like,
I don't know, like earlier you were saying that
it's glitching.
Can't hear you, bud.
Oh, there we go. I was like, wait, hold on. Let's see. It's gonna reach that 8 point.
Yeah. So what I'm waiting for, I can't hear you. I know you were asking a follow-up question, but what I'm waiting for is for this basically just to show me that it's going to correct. You know, so this is already starting to correct on the 15-minute time frame.
Right.
You know, so we might get a flat correction here. But the thing is, when you're trying to like guess like when something is going to start correcting or how far it's going to correct to, that's starting to get into things that like you don't know. Like there's no way to predict.
Yeah.
Is this going to correct now? Is it going to be an exchange triangle?
What you said, I had just lost connection for a couple seconds there, so I'm sorry, but I think I got the gist of what you were saying from the last part. Yeah, I lost connection, so I wasn't hearing what you were saying.
Okay. And here's how to know when a correction starts using your MACD. A correction starts. You see this signal line right here, this blue one?
Yeah.
Your correction starts when the histogram passes back underneath it. So that's how you know your impulse is over. So let me show you a different example.
MACD is either over it or under it. Then.
So like
that'd be the same for a buy though too.
Yeah, for a buy. Yeah. Okay, so like right here, you can see impulse upward. There's your impulse, and you're saying, okay, well, where? Like, how do I know when the correction starts? And it starts when your price starts to cross under your MACD right here, or your histogram goes under the MACD signal line. So, like in this one, you know, your correction started right here.
Okay.
And it was a big, long correction. But that's a good way to know when to get out of moves as well. That this lets you know really well like where the top of a move is. So if you caught this buy and you're like, well, I don't know exactly when to get out, you could always wait until your histogram crosses back under, and you can say, okay, do I want to sit through the correction or do I want to go ahead and take profit? And for me, I typically take profit because I don't like sitting through like multiple day or week corrections just because it doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather get the money, find a new move, and catch the market on continuation trades.
Yes.
So for a lot of things this week, there's going to be a lot of waiting, and there's probably not going to be a ton of trading this week.
Yeah.
For a couple reasons. One being last week, the markets moved insanely. They moved a lot. And the other thing is because we need to wait for pullbacks to happen because we don't want to enter a sell like right here because prices already moved so far. And we know it's going to correct at some point. It can't just keep going down, 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 down. So we're going to wait a little bit this week, and then also at the end of the week, and this whole week is a lot of news because it's the first week of the month. So NFP is this week, and we're just going to be chilling. Of course, we're going to be looking for moves and looking for opportunities, and I'll let you guys know like the best ones that I see. Yeah. But if it's a slower week, just be prepared for it. Just be patient.
Right.
I'm totally expecting it. I am not like at the beginning of last week. I was juiced up because there were moves already setting up.
Everyone did good last week.
But this is a situation where, last week was awesome. So, last week was fun.
That was fun to.
But so as far as this week, dude, it was. Yeah, last week was great. Good week to be a trader.
Right.
Okay, so let's get into some of the at least cover all the major pairs. So for the DXY, we'll just got to the weekly here. All right, weekly. As you guys probably know, we've been in this channel for forever, and we're still in it. And last week, we had a phenomenal opportunity because based on candle formation alone, we had an ascending channel, and then we had a doji or a rejection like shooting star candle right here. So that was good to know. And then we did end up getting the sells last week. And then continuing on with this, we broke through the SMA here.
Yeah.
On the 4 hour. So I'm expecting it to correct this week. Something like that, maybe give us an expanding triangle. It might make a flatter correction. I'm not exactly sure, but I would just wait for it to correct. And I think it's going to correct based on a couple things. One, because of how much price moved last week. And two, you can see a big wick up, then a big wick down, and then another wick right here. So the market doesn't know what to do right now because we're in no man's land. We're in the middle of a channel.
Right.
So there's no clear direction. Okay.
Okay.
And also, one thing that's possible is price could come back up to the top and make like a double top formation, and go down during NFP. And a lot of it's going to just depend on what happens early in the week. So if price is moving slowly like this until Friday, and then NFP comes out, we could say it's probably going to go down.
Yeah.
Same thing is if it moves all the way up here by Friday, we'll know it's probably going to go down a little bit. But I'll obviously keep us, up to date.
This is gonna be a great
closer
month,
to Friday.
Man.
So I'm expecting this month could be really good. Especially if the DXY breaks this correction or breaks this weekly channel, we're gonna get huge sells.
Yeah. Okay, I see. It's so
think about it like this, guys.
Yeah.
Like the entire duration that most of you guys have been trading, the US dollar, which controls the whole market, has been like not trending. It's just been in a channel the whole time.
Yeah.
So like a lot of us haven't got to experience like really huge swing trades just because of what the market condition has been over the past, 2 to 3 years. Okay, the Dow Jones obviously took a huge hit, man. I think that's the largest weekly drop in the history of the stock market. So or one of the largest
For
ones.
the Dow Jones, is that the US 30? Is that the ticker
Yeah.
kind of? Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, US 30. Yep.
Okay.
So as you can see, it had a huge drop off, but we are at a resistance area. Or sorry, a support area right here. So if you trade this, just check your 15-minute time frame, and you can see like the difference in price action here. So if this had corrected up slowly, I would say we'll probably get one more sell, but you can see that it shot straight back up to the SMMA. So it could just keep going straight through there and correct, and then keep going back up. And especially with the stock market, like I don't like to short the stock market because like it's so strong, like it's so bullishly strong 90% of the time. So I'm not gonna trade that. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I've got money in the stock market, but it's like I don't trade it, if that makes sense. It's just longer term.
Yeah.
It'll be in there for the next 40 years, regardless of what the market does. It's just old school retirement fund, which is good to have.
Sometimes you just gotta sit on the sidelines. I noticed that too. Like for gold, I'll look at gold sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's just a great currency to trade with. But yeah, sometimes I'll sit on the sidelines, just like make some like trades for myself, like demo trades or something.
Yeah.
If it works out.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I like doing.
Patience, like there's several like moves that you can do in the market. You can wait for like your favorite break and retest or correction, and you can, if you're a reversal trader, you can wait for your perfect like reversal setup.
Impulse
or like a candlestick setup. There's so many different setups and different moves, but sometimes the best thing you can deploy is patience.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like a week like this is going to be a big like patience week for me because I want to wait for something really clear to set up.
Okay.
All right, so moving on, we'll go to USD Swiss. So dollar Swiss is in a support area. It's been playing around the 96 mark like for a very long time. You can see there's really strong rejections out of it, and we're approaching that once again. And we're starting to get some rejection out of there.
Okay. Are you looking for another
3 touches?
Yeah. Let's see.
And we'll move them down to 4 hour. Yeah, okay, so we're still in a downtrend. I mean, we're in this zone, so it's not a good place to sell, and we haven't had the price action yet for a buy.
Right. Nothing clear.
So for me, no, there's absolutely nothing clear. So, I mean, price is either going to continue to correct slowly, and if it does that, then you can get another similar move, but we're so close to the bottom that I'm not even messing with this pair until we break this zone. Yeah. If we don't break this zone to the downside, I'm not interested in selling this for however many pips this is.
Yeah.
70 pips. I mean, like, 70 pips is great, but like, why do that when there's so many other opportunities?
Right.
Why sell this close to this zone? It just doesn't make sense. So for me, the only way I'm interested in this is if price ends up doing something like this. Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
Your SMMA comes down here. We break, we correct, and then we got a nice buy.
Yeah.
But we don't have that right now. So
I can see that. Actually.
I'm leaving USD Swiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally good.
Exactly.
I mean, we got this rejection, but we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could, but I'm not interested in it quite yet.
Yeah.
And USD CAD. This one's actually looking really interesting. I'm not usually a USD CAD trader. I just don't like the way it moves. You guys know I'm a trend trader, and this hasn't trended in the past like 3 years. So I mean, it's not a huge thing for me. However, if you look at this price action with the candle, like that's a huge shooting star, and we're in this zone.
Oh, that shooting star on top
That's
right there.
yeah, right here.
It's gonna. Okay, I see.
So you think it's gonna it's gonna go down then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Reversal.
I think there's a high likelihood that it could. Yeah. And then we've got engulfing candles on the 4 hour, which
Yeah, and
again
it's above
shows
the SMA too, so it's like way above the SMA. So that
it's
shows
above
it's
the
gonna
SMA.
Right.
correct. Am I right?
Yeah, so it shows me that at least we're gonna get it shows me that
A
at least we're
small
gonna have some
correction.
sort of correction down to these areas. Yeah, we could either get the small correction or we could get the big boom, drop and retest and get a huge, however many pips this is, 300-400 pip move or so.
Jeez.
Yeah, so what I'll be looking for an entry, and we're starting to get the proper criteria right now because we've just now broken down through the 15-minute SMMA.
Yeah.
So this break hasn't been extremely strong, which is why I'm on the alert and on the lookout for this, to possibly just be a correction down to this trend line instead of being that big, huge move that would be nice to get.
Yeah.
So instead of that 400 pip move, we could be looking at about 100 or so pips.
And I'll take that.
But it's not a bad place to get in.
Yeah.
Do what? You'll take it? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And even if we don't get the big move, we're in position for it. So if it doesn't happen, we end up with 90, 75, 90 pips, depending on when you get out. But if it does happen, we get, all 300 to 400 pips, just like GJ last week and UJ as well. I thought, we might get 200 pips, ended up getting 500 on each of them, which is, obviously that's what we're looking for.
Outstanding.
Okay. So moving on to pound dollar. Chart overloads here. Here we go. And we'll back it on out to the weekly. All right. So on the weekly time frame, we're kind of approaching this top right here. So we've had those 3 tops, and then we rejected down off of it. We'll head down to the daily. So it's not super clear because we've gone below like this SMA here, but we're also we still haven't closed below this level where we had a bunch of consolidation earlier. So when we look on lower time frames, we can see we're going to be starting to you can see it here. We're going to be gaining momentum to the upside.
Yeah.
So like you can see this candle we rejected down here, and then we had some bullish engulfing candles.
Yeah.
So I see price really just correcting at least this trend line, if not all the way back up to this area, before showing us, what exactly it's going to do. Because right now, we're just in consolidation. So GU is not perfect for me yet. If we do get a nice correction, I'll be happy to sell it. But like I said, this week is going to be a lot of waiting because we have to figure out, is price going to correct or is price going to, come up and then correct?
Yeah.
We will see. We shall see. And then Aussie and New Zealand both are just absolutely getting hammered.
What's the ticker for this one? I'm sorry, you said Australia dollar to USD?
Yep, it's AUD USD.
Yeah.
AUD USD.
You said Aussie, and I was confused for a second. I had to think
Aussie.
about what country that was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, for sure.
I know most of the acronyms, but I have not heard that one yet. I figured it out.
All right, and with
Definitely got it.
with the Aussie dollar, you can see that this is rejecting off of this trend line on the weekly.
Okay.
And we'll break it. break it on down to the daily, you can see a little bit more rejection happening. I'm just going to straight to the 1 hour here. So this is at the bottom, and you'll see this with like a lot of pairs. Like a lot of them are towards like at resistance and kind of setting up for sells, but also could break and retest, if that makes sense. Like, is it going to continue downward, like through the zone? We don't know. Or is it going to break above and retest the zone? That's where we just have to wait. So that's why I said this week is going to be so much just like seeing what the market is going to do. And in a market like this, a lot of people are going to lose money this week because they're expecting big trades that happened like last week. But the truth of the matter is we might have to settle for smaller trades for the next week or two as the market kind of regains its breath and, you know, we get some fundamental news that's important or something else. Yeah.
I think this weekend's been crazy with the news.
Yes. Oh, that too. Yes. We're gonna have to see how the market opens because we might have massive gaps in the market.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
You know, like if the JPY pairs gap down even further than what they're at, then we'll have to look for, you know, some substantial corrections because we're so far away from the moving averages right now, like on the 1 hour. So like price has to correct at some point. And I think we're starting to see it because on most of the pairs, you can tell that there was some sort of rejection, like USD CAD, USD yen, Euro yen. There's going to be a lot of rejection that you see. So this tells me that we're not ready to sell, but we're not quite ready to buy until we get confirmation on the 15-minute time frame.
Yeah.
Look at that on that last chart that you were just at. The candlestick with the wick. Not that one. I think maybe the one. Yeah, I think it was a yen. No, not this one. I can't remember, but there was like 2 or 3 charts ago. There was a huge candlestick with a really large wick, and then it went back up. So wouldn't that be a pretty good indicator that it's going to continue to go up?
If it's a long doji wick and with another full body with this, you know, like. Say if it has like a bullish doji wick and then you have a bullish long body after that. That's pretty much a good signal for a buy.
That's an engulf, right? That would be considered an engulf. What you're talking about? I think I'm confused, but that's okay.
That's right. It's just
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. I don't know what exactly. Like,
that's chart. Okay.
Yeah, are you talking about like this one right here?
No, it was a different one, but it's okay. We can move on. I was just curious because I see those candlesticks and then like I'm like, oh, that's like an indicator, and then sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. So just something I'll have to cover some more.
So the best thing I can say about candlesticks is that what a candlestick represents on a higher time frame, like a reversal candlestick. I'm going towards the daily here on USD CAD because we all just saw this one. So you see that, and that's a candlestick on the daily.
Yep.
And that looks like a rejection on the daily. And you say, okay, well, where on that candle do I enter? How do I know if this is a real rejection candle or if this is just one of those, like this looks like a rejection candle, but price randomly kept going up, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see these wicks everywhere and it's like, well, how do I know if this is the real deal or if it's not or what? So when you see this on like a daily time frame, we go down to the 15-minute time frame and what we truly see, you can look at the price action. So price started to slow down here and then we got a miniature impulse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're waiting for this to correct. So it's still a little bit sloppy here, but we know that we can wait for this to get a little bigger and for us to get a good correction, test this SMMA, and then we can enter. So really the key is to just know that like if you're looking at something and you see like a convincing candle formation on a bigger time frame, just go down to a different time frame, and then you can see like if there's a clean impulse and correction happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
All
makes
right.
sense.
Yeah,
Does that
that
make
that
sense?
helps a lot. Yeah, that's
Cool.
because like
So
candlesticks
that's
on smaller time frames don't really tell you nearly as much as candlesticks on like the
no,
daily or the 4 hour
It's like
or
a
even the
yeah,
weekly.
exactly. And
Okay.
a lot of times like candlesticks are just kind of, they're not useless, but for me they just represent something else. They
Yeah, they're
represent
not.
an
Yeah,
impulse and a correction on
Yeah.
a different degree. Yeah, different time
yeah. I
frame.
don't want to
Yeah.
give like the candlesticks too much credit for what they are. I mean, like I'm not
Mhm.
basing my trades off candlesticks, but they do intrigue me because I mean,
For
obviously
sure.
they're
Of course,
indicators. So
man. Yeah, they're indicators. You gotta add it.
Yeah, and yeah, and it shows you like something to look for. Like
Yeah.
for me, I wouldn't have been really looking at USD CAD, but I was scrolling through on my daily charts and I saw that and I was like, oh well, that looks pretty convincing. Let's look at it on the 15-minute, and we're starting to break down. Is this trade
Yeah.
ready yet? No. You know,
No.
like for me, no. We have to wait, get a little better break, at least a little bit of a better break, and then get our correction, and then come down. Because otherwise, this can still go up. This can still move up because this downward, these candles aren't convincing enough for me personally yet.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I understand. Thank you
So,
for that explanation.
Cool. Yes, absolutely, man. Yeah, thanks for asking questions, dude.
Man, I used
For
to be
sure.
afraid of asking questions.
So yeah,
Oh, dude.
and then you realize that that's how you learn and
You
grow.
gotta ask, man.
For sure.
Nothing stupid, bro. You
Have
just
to.
gotta ask.
Have to.
Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
I've asked a few stupid questions today, but that's just because I needed to know the answers.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, man. Like they seem stupid like before you find the answer out, or they don't seem
Yeah.
stupid until like you figure like you find the answer, but
Till it's clear.
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just repetition.
And then you're
It's
like, oh
pretty
yeah, I knew
clear.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, as far as the outlet goes, that's pretty much what we got. We'll finish looking at the moves that we called. I think we just got through GJ and then we just went for it. So Euro USD was another one I called. I marked this up on Sunday. I showed the entry as being right here. And then we got 228 pips off of that one. And we didn't have to sit through any drawdown, which was nice. And then same thing on USD JPY. I said wait for the correction. Hold on, let me make this big screen. All right, watch price at the trend line or the top of this flat correction for a sell. We got it. So there's a couple different places you could take it. I took it here when we kind of broke this little thing down and started to get a candle here. I went ahead and took it. Oh, my bad. Or you could have waited, and this would have actually technically been the proper entry right here because it's touching the SMMA.
Yep.
And you're getting this. And that indicates a clear sign that we're in a correction. Okay.
Do you think the euro might continue to go up
pretty-
since the SSMA is like not anywhere close to what's going on, and like the MACD is still moving up?
On Euro USD?
Yes, yeah.
Let's see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get into that one in just a second. Pound Aussie. This one didn't correct like how I wanted it to, but it's a really good opportunity to show you why using the MACD with trend continuation is so key. So we had this, right? So in my mind, I was saying, okay, cool. We've got an impulse. We broke like this trend line. We had a lot of good things going for us. And I was thinking, okay, if we get the proper correction, we could take this for a sell. And there's a lot of space down here. So there's, it would drop pretty quick. But what we got So the correction started to form, but you can see we shot up to the SMMA. So we didn't correct up to it. We had a nice strong candle up to it. And then when we got to the SMMA, we got a little bit of rejection here, but see, look how it closed. It was rejecting sellers. And then we had a break above here. And by that point, you know that this trade, you have to wait because we broke and closed strongly above the SMMA right here. So that told me that this was just getting bigger, that this correction was getting bigger, or the trend was just continuing. And this was just an impulse downward kind of out of nowhere, you know? It lets me know that a reversal is coming soon, but it just didn't happen this cleanly, like the way I would have wanted it to.
Right.
However, it says 60 pip loss, no rejection at SMMA, rules of the trade were not met. So when we got up here, the first thing that was wrong is that we weren't correcting. It was a strong price action. The second thing that was wrong was that if you look here, we never got that small little, that small crossover that we were looking for. It grew and grew and grew and grew because we were breaking this.
Yeah.
We were breaking these highs and we were gaining momentum to the upside. So we never got that like small little price action that we were looking for. Okay.
All right.
But all in all, it's still good. 530 pips, 228, and 350 pips. So that's about 1,000 pips. And then if you took this one, you lost about 60 pips. And I will live with that.
Hey.
I will live with that all day.
Anytime.
Yeah. So for next week, guys, just this is a really good chance to just practice being patient.
Okay. Right.
Or practice some we're going into corrections. So just just back test, man. I just showed you a really good strategy. So go back test it, you know?
Right.
Go back test the SMMA and you'll come up with I can teach you everything I know about it, but until you become comfortable with it, it's hard to you have to learn it for your own.
Yeah.
But hopefully with this start, and just seriously backtest it 1,000 times.
And then when you present this to
1,000 times,
and bring them to Market IQ,
it's completely possible. Just backtest the crap out of it. And what I would do is look for. Do you guys know how to do bar replay?
Bar replay, like the back, yeah.
Yeah, so bar replay is amazing for back testing. So I would just find a pair and do bar replay on it. I would find a pair that trends. And pound dollar is a nice trending pair. So maybe back test it on pound dollar. I would stay away from pairs with low liquidity and low volatility, like Aussie CAD, Aussie Swiss, CAD Swiss. I would stick to more of like your USD pairs because markets that have low volume and low liquidity tend to be the pairs that you want to trade your support and resistance trading with because they tend to just bounce up and down. I'll just show you like CAD Swiss. You see how it's just bouncing up and down as opposed to having a clear defined trend? So since, it basically stays in between these two zones. Whereas you get something like Euro USD, and it trends up and then it trends down. It's just got a much wider, trending range. Okay. Do you guys have any specific questions?
Yeah, I do. I don't trade or anything. I don't even know you could do it. But can we go back to the Dow Jones?
The US
Curious.
30.
Yeah, US 30.
Dow Jones.
So with that big correction that we saw, like late Friday, Wait,
Yes.
what am I? Let me get there. Yeah, with that correction that we're seeing, like I noticed that it's not above the SMMA, and we have not seen a flip of the MACD, so it's probably going to keep going up.
I mean, unless we're waiting for that little green on the MACD.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what time frame you're on.
I'm on the 4-hour right now.
Oh, okay. Here.
4-hour time frame? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's totally possible. Yeah. So what I would say is that, you know, like most other things this week, almost everything is at a zone that you should like. So this is at a zone that we want to buy at, right? But it reached the zone so aggressively that now we have to wait. Because this shot down here within like 2 days. If this had gone and come down here like this,
then no problem. Yeah.
I would feel a lot more confident being like, yeah, we're looking for the buy.
Right now,
but the thing about the market is last week it moved so much, so it could correct, but the correction could even look like this. It could be a very violent correction before continuing downward.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would wait for, you know, this looks like it's going to correct, but at the same time, the markets could open Monday and this could just be a really small pause and a bigger downtrend like how we have here.
Yeah.
And we'll know that we're going to get that if we start to get rejection off of this 15-minute SMMA. But again, it's not looking extremely good to me because of this price action, and that defines the market for this entire week. Is that, you know, we have the same situation here where we had kind of this price action, which is stronger than what we had previously, but then it came straight back down. So is this, you know, is this going to become an expanding triangle, or is this a situation where that just corrected really sharply and now we're just going to continue all the way down? We're going to have to wait.
Okay.
Like if we get a nice correction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go on the 15-minute.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Brent?
Oh, you had just kind of answered it for me. I was going to ask a question, but I already knew the answer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
perfect. And yeah, awesome, guys. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to share kind of this week. I guess for this week, yeah, like I said, just practice your MACD strategies. Now, for your SMMAs, did you follow the lesson on the indicators on the website to get your SMMA on there?
Yeah, yep. I have all my indicators on there.
Okay. Otherwise, your 23 your 23 SMMA will look different unless you did it like how I did it in the video.
Okay.
So I'll just show you like this, because it's like hacked. It's like hacked. You can't just get this stock. You have to like do stuff to get this. So let me just show you the difference real quick, and then I'll show you how to get it.
Because my SMMA is at 7 close, and it doesn't look anything like yours. Yeah, so
no, that's why this is like crucial. Okay, so to get it, you have to do it in these steps. I'm gonna clear all these out. Clear, yes, clear. Okay. First thing you have to do, go to indicators, go to exponential moving average. Oops. Okay. Oops, put one too many. Okay. Change the input to 80. I changed my color to blue because that's what I like. Okay.
You changed the length to 80?
Yep.
Yes, change the length.
The length to 80.
Go to inputs and change the length to 80.
Okay.
Okay. For the next one, go back to indicators and go to smoothed. Oops. Type in smooth and it'll say smooth moving average. Put that one on there. Okay, click on it. Go to inputs, length, put it at 23. And for source, this is where it gets tricky. The source is going to be the EMA. Instead of the open, the close, the high, 99.999% of the times, things are kind of tied to the close. But on this one, we're going to tie it to the EMA. Okay. And that's how you get the SMMA on there.
Okay.
I always change it to red. Yeah. So that's how you get that one on there. The OG EMA. Let me make sure I had it right. Yep, that's how you do it. And then I put a 30 on there just because, I don't know, you don't have to. I don't really necessarily use it, but kind of when price is starting to get away from the 30 EMA, that's how I know also that it's probably getting ready to pull back. But you don't need it.
Okay.
You just need the 80 and then the SMMA on there. Cool. You guys both got it?
Yep. Yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
I like those a lot,
and then,
actually.
Yes, dude, they're awesome. And this will give you guys some really good stuff to back test. And yeah, like if you guys have markups and stuff, just let me see them, just let me know if you have questions. If you like are marking something up and you're like, well, I don't know if this is an impulse or a correction, or like, if you just don't know what to do, just let me know. And
Yep.
I'll try to help you guys as best I can.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
so you're going to do this
guys.
like once a week, or you're doing this twice, more than once a week?
No, I do it every Sunday. And then
Every Sunday, okay.
Like last week I did it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. Like, so every single week, every single day at Tuesday at 6 a.m., I'm going to be on. Every single day at Wednesday, 6 a.m., I'm going to be on. Thursday, 6 a.m., I'm going to be on. Last week, I called all these moves in the meetings.
Yeah.
Literally thousands and thousands, like thousands of pips
like
were
it's
called.
time.
So
it looks like it's time for me to start putting my alarm to 6 a.m.
That's an alarm, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 a.m.
I mean, legitimately. Well, guys, I post them here. I post them here. Like, I don't know what 1,000 pips is worth to you. I know what it's worth to me.
It's a lot.
And I would say
like my
waking up maybe a little early is worth it. Yeah, it was more than my like entire monthly bills, basically.
Right.
So that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then when you have weeks like that, though, it makes it so much easier the next week to be patient. What sucks is when you miss a week like this.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, man, it's going to be popping off next week again, too. Well, no, it's probably not. It's probably going to do something like this for the next 3 or 4, It's going to do something like that for the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's not just going to boom, 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 just,
Right.
That's not how it goes.
I'm never afraid to miss out on anything, man.
No,
Everything's still going to be here. Everything's still going to be here.
That's awesome. You're a step ahead of the game.
Yeah, FOMO was the first thing I had to get over.
It was psychology.
Yeah. FOMO. Mine was FOMO. FOMO was huge for me until I learned about corrections and learned about like impulse correction continuation, because I'd be like, oh man, I missed this impulse. And then I'd try to get in late and then I'd get wiped out by the correction.
My problem was like money management.
Only to see price continue back in the direction I thought it was going to be. So it was like so frustrating. And, that's when I figured that out. And then, that was a big FOMO thing. And then like leaving money on the table was a big thing for me too.
And greed.
So I was always scared that I was going to leave. And that was totally greed. Yeah. So I had to get rid of that too.
I was trading a real live account. I was up 70, was it like, I don't know how many pips it was, but I was up $70 and I literally made 250 that whole day. And next thing you know, I was being too greedy, right? And I was waiting for it to go a little higher.
Yeah.
But man, it crashed so bad where it blew all my money. Like not all my money, but like that 250 I made profit in that day. So
it's a bad feeling.
Oh yeah,
is
for
it
sure.
not?
Oh dude,
Yeah.
it was pain, but
dude.
after to move
The
on.
worst is when you see a position like that and
Yeah.
you don't like move your stop loss to break even and you lose money on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning. You know,
That's the worst.
That's the worst. Yeah, you got to set it.
You're like, I would have rather just lost immediately than go into profit that much, and then you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
That's why I use. You have to know when you're gonna exit a position too.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just entries and stop losses. You gotta know when you're gonna exit too, and you gotta stick with it.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, okay, I'll set my take profit here. And I know I've done this before. You set your take profit and price gets like 5 pips away. And you're like, well, I'll just take my take profit off and I'll just monitor it.
Yeah.
It almost never works out in your favor. Like hardly ever.
I would move my take profit. Would you consider moving your take profit like right when it hits not right when it hits it, but like a little bit over that, like when it hits the actual profit area? Would you move your stop loss higher then? So you're not.
Oh, move the stop loss?
Or the yeah. I meant your stop loss. Sorry, my bad.
So yeah, my stop loss. Yeah, I move that.
Yeah.
That's all trade management.
Okay.
That I definitely do. I'll show you my position on USD JPY because that has the best example of the perfect
I'm just
place
looking
to show
for
you that.
when I should actually move it up. Like when is the opportunity for me to move my stop loss to that area?
Okay.
I'm disappointed.
So my position
this management.
Position last week was off of this move.
Right.
Off of this correction right here. So here's a look at what it looked like. It was here. My stop loss was about right here. Stop loss and above the previous impulse.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your stop loss is supposed to be. Okay. We had a target down here somewhere. I don't exactly remember. It doesn't matter. So, okay. We entered here.
In a buy.
And then we had this impulse down. Okay. And then we could see on the MACD right here that a correction is starting.
Okay. Yeah. That's perfect.
So after this impulse is done and this correction has started, once this secondary correction in your position goes and it starts to move about right here, that's when I moved my stop loss to break even.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
This, I wanted to give it a little bit of room to breathe. So like I didn't move my stop loss right when this correction started because things can correct up, like they can correct to the 0.5, the 0.618, but they can also do a 100% correction. Yeah. And if this had corrected 100% back to here, then I would have gotten taken out on break even and potentially missed the move. So I wanted to give it some room to breathe. So I just let it continue one more time before I move my stop loss. And then once it really starts to go, you can move your stop loss all the way. You know, you can move your stop loss into profit.
Right.
However you want to do it.
Okay.
So I would just put it behind the previous impulse. Like if I had gotten in right here and my stop loss was here, I would have waited for price to do this. And then when it started correcting, I just would have moved my stop loss up here. And then when we got this, I would have moved this original stop loss down to here. And then when we got this, you know, you can move your stop loss into profit.
Okay. So it's like trailing behind then. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like that. Okay.
It's basically like trailing, and you just put your stop behind the most previous correction.
Yeah. I have an Excel spreadsheet where if like however money I put into my account, like That's honestly how I blew it. I was just being an idiot trading, like, just first time experience, putting more huge lot size into it. And, I got an Excel sheet where I can just put my balance into it and it'll give me the, exact just lot
It would
size.
show you a projection.
Yeah.
Hey, you should
goal.
send that to the group chat.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
I would love to, man. Here, I'll do that right now, actually. I just found it was like somewhere online. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, and it gave you like personal goals for like the 40, like for your job income. I meant it'll tell you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I have one like that as well too.
Yeah.
So Andrew,
right.
we didn't talk much about gold today.
Sure.
Always
And
gotta.
I'm curious about gold because of what's happening with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And like, I'm
gold.
curious why it keeps moving down.
Gold not ready for a longer term drop until coronavirus and trade war are settled down. Fundamentals last week do not support price action. So you're absolutely right.
So you think it'll go back up for a second, maybe not a second, but
Yes, I do. Just because, like, here's what I think. Under normal circumstances, the news from last week would have made gold rise, right?
yeah,
Because it was bad news. Gold is a safe haven. It goes up. Well, what we're also seeing on gold is we're approaching a zone on the weekly. So gold is expensive right now.
Yeah.
5 months ago it was $1,300. It's $1,700 right now.
Yeah.
So gold is expensive as hell. So investors are looking for not just the right asset to get into, but the right price at which to get into that asset. So instead of going to gold as a safe haven currency, last week we saw people jump into the yen.
The yen. Okay.
So instead of fleeing to gold as a safe haven, instead of going to gold as a safe haven, investors started to pull money out at highs and put it into better assets that were better priced, like the yen, which is why we saw, obviously huge moves on all the yen pairs: USD yen, Euro yen. Obviously, pound yen. All the yen pairs moved down because the yen got super strong. That is I'm almost positive that's what happened on gold. Because there was a lot of confusion about that last week. Like, what's gold doing? Like, shouldn't it be going up? And it's like, yeah, but you also have to look at the price. It's supply and demand. There was no demand for price at this, or, for gold at this price. So, yeah, it's just a mixture of fundamentals and technicals, man.
Okay.
Like always.
Hey, thank you.
All right, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right, guys.
Cool.
Well, for the outlook, that about does it. I'll keep the charts updated, especially after, we're going to open at 5. I'm interested to see what kind of gap we're going to get. So I'll update the market probably this evening sometime. I'll update the market in the morning, and then I'll see you guys Tuesday.
All
right. Yeah, I'll be there at 6 on Tuesday.
Right.
Yep, same. All right.
Well, and like I said, go ahead and back test that MACD, all right?
Yes, I will.
All right. Perfect.
All right.
Later,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you later. See ya.